What's up? I told you I was coming at you every single week. I'm not playing with you. This is for real. Recovery is for real. Wake up, people. Wake up. I got my friend here today. I got my friend and I got my brother here with me also. He's a mentor. And I just thank God for bringing our paths together. And I learned from him, from his example. And then we just grow in our recovery together. So this is another What's Up with Pastor Greg. And we got our friend, our brother, and our mentor, Dave Teater, on here with us today. And hey, Dave, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Pastor Greg. How are you? You look like you're full of energy today.
Right? I mean, you know what? God is good all the time, and all the time God is good, you know. So we're celebrating this we're celebrating life, you know, because it's so wonderful. You know, some of the things I taken for granted, you know, through the drugs and alcohol. And now I just got a fresh take on life. Each and every day is a wonderful, fresh moment. You know, the Holy Spirit ushers me into it, you know, as he's willing to do the same thing for you people, you know, usher you into something fresh every single day, you know. So what I want Dave on here today, we're going to talk about some things that pertain to relapse prevention, and basically that's clean and sober living. This man has been doing it for, I can't tell you a story for you, man. How long you been clean and sober, you know what I'm saying, in recovery?
You know, I'm grateful, Greg. My last drink and drug was in March of 1989. So a month or so ago, it was 31 years. It's been, you know, it's been a real blessing, something I really didn't ask for. I was just asking to get out of trouble.
Yeah.
I had no idea it would lead to not just a life of sobriety, but a life where, you know, I like the person I've become, and,
Oh, man.
and I'm comfortable in my own skin. And I'm grateful every day for another day of being happy, joyous, and free.
You said a lot right there, Dave, being comfortable in your own skin, because I think that's some of the challenges that we as people struggle with, being comfortable in our own skin, because when we're not comfortable in our own skin, that can precipitate, lead to, contribute to wanting to pursue drugs and alcohol, you know, to change our mood. You know, we know drugs and alcohol or chemicals are the mood altering substance. And I learned that chemicals medicate pain because there's some evidence of pain in our life somewhere, regardless of the degree or the severity. But that's one thing that you said that I enjoy. And I was asked this years ago by the precious Holy Spirit, do you like the skin you're in? And that was very pivotal, because you got to like the skin that you're in, then you can really enjoy your life. I thank you for saying that, man, because that's so key. You know, people like the skin you're in.
Yeah. You know, Greg, I think addicts understand this, alcoholics and addicts understand this better than most people. But, you know, a terrible, lonely, miserable place to be is walking around not liking the person you become.
Yeah.
You know, and my intentions were always good. I never had bad intentions,
right?
You know, but I'd swear I was going to take one or two drinks, and the next thing I knew, it was 3 or 4 hours later. And not only was it way more than one or two, and probably some drugs involved, but it was also behaviors that when I woke up the next morning, I just hated myself for it.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's that regret that we
where you never do it again, and then all of a sudden it happens again.
We're back at it again.
Right back at it.
You know, that's the pathology. You know, people, I've shared this with you in some of my groups and whatnot, you know, that addiction is a pathological relationship to any mood altering substance or behavior. And Dave just described it. You know, we got in it, but we find ourselves, we can't get out of it. We have formed a routine, and that it is a toxic routine, that we intend to do one thing, but we have another result.
Right, exactly. Yeah. You know, Greg, I've often thought that if I try and control drinking and drugging with willpower alone, I'm destined to fail. You know, I tried that for years and years and years and was never successful for maybe more than a very short period of time. What I need to understand is that for me, alcohol and drugs, anything that changes my mood, I'm allergic to it. You know, once I do
it,
I have no control over the second drink.
Said.
I only have control over the first one. And, you know, there's people that have allergies. You know, there's people that eat peanuts. You know, if they eat peanuts and they break out in hives and, you know, are in bad shape, why would they do that again?
Right.
You know, don't eat peanuts anymore, right?
You said it right, man. And then you made it so accessible, because I've talked about this. This is why I'm just giddy right now, because I've used similar words in that. I said, people, don't think about it, but you just have an allergy.
Yeah. And lots of people have allergies.
Yes, we do. And what that makes that is that, one, it takes away the toxicity, it takes away the shame, it takes away the blame. It just says that you have limits in your life, you have boundaries in your life, and then you must adjust accordingly. As you said, Dave, so wonderfully, is that we all have some allergies in some way, or shape, form, and fashion. Some things that work for us and some things that don't work for us. And then on that path of recovery is to learn what those things are, and then adjust ourselves accordingly, and then continue to move onward and upward in what is a healthy practice of living.
Yeah, and I think, Greg, people, especially those early in recovery, or people who know they need to make a change in their lives, but they're afraid to do it.
Yeah.
You can't help but think that if they make that change, if they take alcohol and drugs out of their life isn't going to be worth living anymore. It's going to be miserable. Everything they associate with, whether it be fun or changing how they feel or killing the pain, all has to do with alcohol and drugs. And for most of us, it's been that way for a big part of our life. For me, I think it started at about 12 or 13 years old.
Okay.
And so you say, gee, I can't go on this way anymore. It's going to kill me. I'm hurting other people. I'm destroying lives around me. But if I don't, I can't imagine living. And the great promise about recovery that people don't understand is not only can you live a healthy, happy, joyous, free life, it can be better than anything you ever imagined, way better than when you were drinking and using. Yeah. People don't understand that when they come into recovery first, for good reasons. But, that's what I tell everybody, is that not only, if you got to have a disease, think about it. There's diseases like addiction, diabetes, cancer. The person with cancer or diabetes, the best they can ever hope for is to get to where they were, before it got bad.
Right.
For an alcoholic addict, not only can the booze and drugs be eliminated from their lives, but they can become a better person than they've ever been before. Life can be more enjoyable than it's ever been before. That's the great promise of recovery.
And that is so wonderful, because see what you just said, instead of, the again, I have to say, the shaming and the blaming that many of us do, because I had a struggle with that day, what you just described. I just could not imagine living without my drug, living without my alcohol. I built a whole world around it, because the desire to escape whatever was uncomfortable, whether it be my skin or circumstance or situation, just made me afraid to imagine living without the drugs, living without the alcohol, living without the aberrant behaviors that surround that world, until I took the step. And taking that step, yeah, it was difficult, but as you just described, it was also meaningful. And at taking that one step, then you took another step. And then it educated me throughout the course to find and realize that, I'm greater than the sum total of everything that came up against me, and all I've got to do is just keep taking that forward step, one day at a time, one moment at a time. And then I will discover a new world, instead of trying to fit in somebody else's shoes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's so key. Yeah. Because, you've been living in this way, in recovery, the joy of recovery, what you described. And that's the key, because there is a joy. It's more than just abstinence. See, that's the one thing we really have to put emphasis on, is that some misinterpret recovery as just abstinence. Abstinence, you and I know, that's just a step toward clean and sober living, recovery living. Yeah, we're not ingesting the drug or the alcohol or engaged in the aberrant behavior, the bad behavior people, but you got to thrive. You got to want to thrive. There is a thriving, and as you described, a joy in recovery. Am I true about that?
Absolutely. That, and again, that's the thing that's hard for people to understand until they've got some recovery under their belt. I thought when I quit drinking that the only thing that was going to change in my life was I wouldn't drink or drug anymore. Nothing else was going to change. That's the only thing I even considered had to change, you know? And then I started hearing stuff about, you know, recovery and working a program and the 12 steps. And I said, well, what's all this about? What do I need to do that for? And somebody explained it to me. They said, look, the person you've become, you know, you pretty much have to drink and drug to get through life based on how you live your life.
Wow.
And if all you do is take the drinking and drugging away and nothing else changes, you're either going to be miserable or more likely you're going to have to drink and drug again someday.
Wow.
You know, and how about we work on changing your spiritual condition in such a way that you don't want to ever drink or drug anymore, you know? And then you're not white knuckling it. You're not fighting urges. You're just going through life and thanking God every day for the life you've been given. That's a wonderful way to live.
Yeah, it is. And you're talking about the discovery, the joy of discovery. You know, you're finding out things and reimagining. What you just described is a word I've been using the last couple of weeks, is called reimagine. You're not only reimagining, but recreating yourself. You know, I mean, like, you get a clean slate, you know, and what are you going to become? You know, and it's not because you're running from something, it's that you're in pursuit of something. And it's called that life, you know? And then, you know, that's the wonderful thing, that your life is going to be different than my life, but still we're going to have life.
And, you know, Greg, I don't want to minimize it, but in a lot of ways, it's not that hard to do, because I don't believe I changed a whole lot. I believe God changed a whole lot. I just decided to let God do that, you know?
Dude, don't make me throw something at the screen at you, man. Because people, did you hear what he just said? He said God did it, and he's willing and ready and able to do it for you. But I can hear you saying, but not saying it, man. But it's a partnership.
Absolutely. And I have to allow that partnership to happen. That's all I have to do. You know, I don't want to act like it's, you know, it's not like I got to go out and read a bunch of books and memorize a bunch of stuff and do 5 hours of practice on something every day. All I got to do is start every day and say, God, here I am. Show me your will.
Dude.
Without a drink and a drug, you know?
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. I mean, the old folks used to say, if you make one step, he makes two. Now, people, what that means, simple, is that he's ready, willing, and able. The question is, are you? Are you ready, willing, and able to have life and have it more abundantly? And I love what you just said, because, you know, sometimes we mimic what we, unfortunately, Dave, we misinterpret a lot of things that we see in others when we have the desire that, one, we want to run away from the person that we used to be, the trouble, the trial, the tribulation. And so we want to get involved in this recovery world. And sometimes, again, we misinterpret what we see, and we think that it have to go to the extreme because, see, we have these obsessive tendencies, you know, and we'll go from one extreme of the drinking and drugging, and now in the recovery world, now we want to make it to all the meetings, read all the books, do all the things routinely, but then we're not enjoying the journey. We're just into that pattern, you know, and that's what I found contributes to a lot of people's relapses, is because you've overdone it in the other way and you haven't enjoyed the journey and you haven't been transformed and embraced it so that you can walk along with the God of your understanding instead of running ahead of the God of your understanding.
Yep. Yeah, recovery has to be something that you're fulfilled by, that you enjoy, that you look forward to. Yeah. And if it's not that, then we probably got to try something different. We got to, you know, find a different group, a different mentor, a different sponsor, go to different meetings, pray more in the morning. I mean, and again, most people that do that, they're putting sobriety first in their life. Nothing is more important than my sobriety. When they do that, then everything starts to fall in place.
Yes, it does. But like you said, you have to pace yourself, you know, because we are individuals, you know, of course, the zebra can't change his stripe, and I ain't shaming my game. You know, I am a pastor. So, you know, I will refer to scriptures because, you know, that's where I got my understanding. I'm not saying that's what everybody else has to do, but you have to be true to yourself. You know, the Bible does say that we're fearfully and wonderfully made, and that means that we have an opportunity to discover that at our own pace.
Yeah.
at our own pace, not trying to keep up with somebody else, not trying to be like somebody else, but at our own pace of discovery. And then he's ready, willing, and able, and he's not rushing us to say, like, you know what, let's take away again the blame and take away the shame. You know, hey, we all made mistakes. You realize you got an allergy now. Get up, all right, take your medicine. One, you just said one dose of your medicine is acknowledge me. Hey, I'm here for you, right? You say, hey, God, I'm up today. I got to try, you know, I need you to help me make it through this day. And next thing you know, you're finding yourself developing a new healthy routine that works for you, that is at your own pace, and nobody's rushing you.
And the nice thing too about that, Greg, is most of us, if not all of us, and you know, when we hit that bottom, whatever it is, and we're ready to make a change, you know, we don't have a very good past, and every day was kind of miserable. And what happens is, you know, you go through enough days like that, you assume tomorrow's going to be bad too, and so you have no hope in your life.
Yes.
And what happens when you get clean and sober is that every day starts getting a little better, or at least it's not something you regret. You know, you go through a day, it may not be the best day in the world, but at least you didn't offend anybody. You didn't steal anything. You didn't break your word, which, you know, we did every day when we were drinking and drugging. And then you start building a bunch of those days in your past, and you say, hey, maybe tomorrow's going to be okay. Well, that's hope that most of us never had before. You know, and again, that lifts you up. That changes your life almost overnight.
That's the encouragement that comes with this programming, with this new life. You know, as you said, the hope, you know, that we all want better. Isn't that right? You know, we all want better. And how do you get better? You know, you get better by doing better. And to do better, sometimes you have to surround yourself with better, like you referred to earlier. You know, it might be a group, a mentor, a coach, whatever. You know, I know for a fact I didn't do it on my own. Now, I thank God for being there with me, but God knows me, and he led me to some people who, one, are clean and sober living, have years of recovery, that have some wisdom through the journey, that I was, one, willing to be taught, and they were willing to share, to give me some tools that would help me. But it's for me to pick up those tools and use them, right, Dave?
Absolutely. You know, you just, it's in my opinion, Craig, I'm not sure it's a lot different than some of these other diseases. You know, if God forbid I get cancer,
Yeah, right.
If they say, Dave, you need to do this, you need surgery, you need chemo, you know, if I say no, I'm not going to do that, I don't stand a chance, right?
Yeah. Right.
You know? So you got, you know, for the first time in my life, and I don't know, I credit it to God because I didn't make this decision. For the first time in my life in 1989, I decided to start taking good direction from other people. I never did that before. If you told me to do something, Greg, I do just the opposite. You know, and something happened. I believe it was an answer to prayer, but something happened. For the first time in my life, I said, okay, you know, even if I don't understand it, even if I don't want to do it, my best thinking got me to the point I was at right then, and it wasn't very good. Maybe it's time I listen to somebody else.
Yep. Oh man, what you just said. I mean, you know, you know what, people, it sounds familiar, doesn't it? You know, and this is the thing, you know, and I appreciate the anonymous groups, AA, NAEA, all of those and whatnot. But you know what you'll find, like he just said, is that with our allergies, there are symptoms. And we find that whether you develop that allergy by way of drugs or by way of alcohol, and as I said before, it's just not chemicals, it's also behavior. It could be by stealing, it could be by gambling, it could be by even lying can be addictive. You know, it's just about knowing the symptoms that say to you that, you know what, this is not working for you. And you're going to need some medicine, all right? You're going to need to take a different path. So that takes away the toxic message of it. And then, like you said, Dave, it turns it into a hopeful message. Now, when you said cancer, dude, I had cancer, okay? And then, I mean, sure, there was the shock, you know, about, okay, I got this disease, all right? But then it was like, do you want to live? Well, yeah, I want to live. Okay, and they say, well, to live, this is what you got to do. And I didn't hesitate. It's like, yeah, okay, we doing that, right? Because, because I enjoy life and I want to do whatever pertains to life. People, that's it. I mean, it's not about because you have to, it's your passion. I had another brother on here just last week and whatnot, and he said that when my desperation turns into passion, and your passion leads you, right?
Absolutely. It leads you in. And the other thing that a lot of people don't understand, but when we get into recovery, we're given something that a lot of others don't get the opportunity to practice. And that is giving this gift away to others.
Wow. Yep.
I mean, there's an incredible fulfilling purpose that becomes a part of your life when you can share your experience, strength, and hope with somebody who's in the pits of this addiction. You know that their life can be so much better, and the only way, and that they're going to believe you a lot more than they're going to believe, their spouse, their doctor, their parents. Because they know you've been there. They know you know what you're talking about.
Yep.
And to go through life happy, joyous, and free, feeling that you've got a purpose that is consistent with God's will for you to help others, to be of service to others, is indescribable compared to the lives we had before and how we felt about ourselves before. It's indescribable.
And they never mentioned people, when we talk about experience, strength, and hope, he never, and those are basically spiritual principles. Okay. Mm-hmm. He never mentioned, about, being some religious fanatic. Now, I'll tell you something, I'm a pastor, but I'm not going to bash the church. But I'm not a promoter of the church as much as I'm a promoter of the relationship. That's why we say the God to be understanding, and relationship takes two basic elements: time and talk. You spend some time to talk, and that's how all of us have built. I know you know that's true, Dave. That all of us has built a relationship off of time, spending some time to have a conversation. And through that conversation, the swapping of information, this is when we get to share our personalities, our experience, our strength, and our hope. And next thing you know, we're growing and we're moving further than we could imagine that we moved before. And also, it's not painful. It's fulfilling, because now we're gaining more information. We're developing meaningful relationships. We're finding out these are the things that contribute to the strength, the experience, the hope.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. I like that time and talk, and that's the thing where, first of all, most of the talking I did when I was drinking and drugging was not sober talk, In fact, if you wanted to talk to me when I was sober, I wasn't that interested.
Dude, go ahead, Dave.
And now, Greg, we have conversations like this all the time. We're doing it, we're doing it on Zoom, but you and I have had a lot of these conversations.
Yes.
We've had these conversations with other people in recovery, and we don't have to be high to do it. It's legitimate, it's genuine. Yes, but you're right at first, especially at first, because again, I didn't like talking to people very well unless I've been drugging. I got to make an effort. I got to say, I don't really, feel comfortable walking into, let's say, an AA meeting where I don't know anybody and I don't know how it works and blah, blah, but you got to do it. Now, it doesn't take long before you figure out everybody in there is exactly like you.
Right.
And you feel at home right away.
Yeah.
But you got to take that first step. You got to get out of your comfort zone a little bit. Focus on talking and taking time for your recovery. I like that.
See, this is what we're doing here, people, with you. We came here because Dave and I recognize you have value, you have significance, you have importance, you have worth. We're not talking about that we made it overnight. It's been a journey, but it's been a meaningful and it's been a rewarding journey. And we want you to join us in this journey, but the first thing, as Dave just said, and we can't emphasize it enough, to get on this journey, you got to take a step. You got to take just one step. And then he just took away the scare about it. Yeah, when you step into the meeting, if you step into the meeting, please step into the meeting. Then you'll find that it's not what you imagine, And if you think about it, come on, how bad can it be from some of your drinking and your drugging days? Because you was out there ziggity boom. You was doing some things around some people that you shouldn't even mention it today. But if you go in there, you'll find some people that know what you're talking about. You said, wait a minute, that sounds just like me. And it looked just like me, because it is you, people. You know, we come in all shape, forms, and sizes. But here's what happens. Regardless of how we get on, all roads converge toward recovery. You know, it doesn't matter how you get on. That's why I mentioned earlier, Dave, about, you know, AA, NA, and the other anonymous groups, because some people want to use them to contrast and compare and compete and say, that's silly, people. You know, we're all involved in 12-step practices of sober living, wholesome living. It doesn't matter whether you're AA, it doesn't matter whether you're NA. You are clean, you are sober, you are living your best life. Who cares? Just take the step.
Absolutely. Take that first step.
So Dave, you know what you said to us as we get ready to close here, man, I really appreciate having you on here, man, because, you know, I thank God again for how we met, when we met, and why we met. And we never even knew that things was going to be blossom. People, this is what happens in recovery. You're going to meet some amazing people along the way, some people that you can glean from wisdom, some knowledge, some understanding, and they're willing to show. And this man is one who's willing to share his experience, strength, and hope. He don't care who you are. He don't care where you come from. He willing to, you got the time, he'll share with you. And I guarantee you right now, when he shares with you, he's going to spit some fire. It's going to leave you burning. You're going to take off your hat and you're going to wave it. But you're going to say, thank you. Somebody gets me. And that's what he was talking about. He was talking about sharing it. Okay. Now, for you who are new to it, he also gave you some tips too. Come on, just muster your courage. Now, you know, when it came to drinking and drugging, you know, we didn't even know what drug or drink we wanted to. We were bold enough to experiment with a group. You know, try something that is new and helping. Meet some face that you have never met before. You know, hear their message, you know, because next thing you know, that's going to translate into, as Dave mentioned earlier, hope. Now, Dave, before I let you go, when we talk about relapse prevention, I find that the best prevention is, I don't have the word right now, is the action. I mean, like you're saying, it's not, again, running away. Maybe you can help me with this. Not running away from something, but it's running to something. So the more that you are working your program, the less likely you are to relapse.
Yeah, absolutely, Greg. And I think that's, I tried real hard to think my way into not drinking and to living a sober life. It never worked. It wasn't until I started doing things, you know, getting off the couch, working the steps in my case, going to a meeting, getting involved with community recovery. You know, I had to take action. And I think that's key. You know, a lot of smart people are addicts, you know, and we think, gee, you know, maybe we can figure this out ourselves, and I ought to be strong enough to do this, and I ought to be smart enough to do this. And there's something about, you know, I used to compare it to, I thought of this analogy. I'm in a boxing match, and I'm not a boxer. I don't know how to box. You know, I got no experience, and I'm in with the world champ. You know, my days that was Muhammad Ali, and I get in the ring, and you know, in one punch and I'm down, you know, and it hurts, you know, but I keep getting up thinking it's going to be different, you know, and I keep getting knocked down, and the pain gets worse. And I start to hate myself for letting myself in this position. And you know when the pain stops, Greg? It's when I throw up my arms and say, I give up, you know, and I surrender. And in this case, I do it to God. I said, God, I give you my will today. Show me what to do. I'm not going to question it anymore. I'm going to take action. I'm not going to try and figure it out just in my head. I'm going to do as I'm told. And it's amazing how quickly life gets better and how quickly the urge to drink and drug gets taken away.
See, I like that, man. Dude, I'm going to have to borrow that. People, you can borrow some of this stuff, you know, by getting in that ring, because, you know, you talk about Muhammad Ali, and I grew up on him, man. He's swinging at me. I'm telling somebody. Right.
Well, in that analogy, Muhammad Ali was alcohol and drugs. He was the king, man. I don't have a chance winning that fight.
No.
You know,
because I'm sitting up here trying to bob and weave, and next thing you know, they throwing uppercuts and hooks that I never imagined. Because we're trying to fight something that has got a better track record than we do. You know what I'm saying? Man, I want to thank you for being here today. You have shared some meaningful, your experience, your strength, your hope. People, we are here for you on WhatsUpp. That's what we do. We ring and come here true for you. We're not trying to impress anybody. We're just trying to share with you that there is something wonderful called recovery. And you can do it, man. Right, Dave? So you got any parting words before we get out of here, my friend?
God bless everybody. Just take that first step.
There you go. Take the step, people. I'm still looking at you. See, I'm all up in the, right? We're not playing with y'all. I'm like a stalker. I'm on you. You can't run away from me because, again, you will have value. You have significance. You have importance. You have worth. My man Dave just said it today. I'm hollering at you. Peace out, people.